Everybody, this is Andy, and in this video we're going to talk about a topic that I get asked a lot of questions about, which is the difference between weight loss and fat loss. So here we're going to add a little extra context. We're probably going to eat a little bit of the science behind some of it, but ultimately is to give you a better understanding of which is probably better for you. Okay, let's take a moment to define what both of those mean. First, fat loss. Fat loss is specific to body fat percent. So that's when you're trying to retain as much muscle as possible while dropping your pounds via the body weight. However, weight loss systemically, you're talking about muscle loss, you're talking about fat loss, you're talking about bone loss, maybe even cutting your hair if your hair goes all the way down to the floor. So you're looking at something that's more of a total number versus fat loss. Yes, I did say muscle proteins are part of weight loss as well. So everybody, when I discuss this, and this is the chief question that I get is, I want to lose weight, and I get a little more specific in my questioning when I talk to these clients. We kind of both discover that weight loss isn't their ultimate goal. It's more along the lines of just fat loss. So the problem with weight loss, again, is the fact that you lose muscle. And that's a huge problem, especially if you're wanting to metabolize fats. When you look at muscle loss, you're also relating to the loss of your resting metabolic rate, which clearly inhibits your ability to burn calories long term as well. Muscle is in a constant state of turnover. So this is where you use this as a little visualization here. You're either working to build your muscle or being anabolic, or you're working to break it down or being catabolic. So when you understand the differences here, you get the idea that there's no such thing as a maintain. So when you're trying to lose body fat, you're also, inherently losing muscle too. But there's techniques, there's dietary supplementation that could also assist in the mitigation of losing muscle while you're trying to lose fat, essentially. And conversely, when you're trying to gain size, gain mass, you're also building a lot of muscle, but we're also throwing in some fat on the side as well. So, building that lean mass, you're trying to, one, basically redesign what you have currently, and two, just marginally eat more calories than what your daily intake should be. So again, we're accelerating more of the muscle mass versus the fat mass, but in theory, you're still gaining both. So I know what you're thinking. What causes muscle to break down? Now, this is my overly simplified explainer on this, so let's take this with a small grain of salt, but any one of these four elements will cause the muscle to break down. The first of which is a lack of energy or not consuming the proper amount of calories, and that primarily does come from like your proteins and your carbohydrates. Carbohydrates play a really huge role in muscle biology. Another thing is overuse. So if we're constantly working out or we're constantly using our muscles, we're constantly burning energy, thus causing our muscles to not want to sustain. We need the energy, so they break down. Another one is the complete opposite of that. So you go from overuse to underuse, or atrophy, if you will. So our bodies have to have a specific amount of stress that causes or forces our bodies to want to grow or cause the muscle to want to build. And that's relative off your 100% max. We have to hit somewhere between 70 to 85% once a week to allow our bodies to want to grow. Our muscle has to want to grow. And finally, and you're going to have to roll with me on this one, it's called cardio enzymes. So basically when we do a lot of endurance-like activities, or if we're doing some highly sustained, high-intensity exercises, our bodies develop a certain amount of enzymes that causes the muscle to metabolize even faster. So that's when you get those people that are like skinny fat. Now that you know what causes the muscle to break down and what to look out for, let's talk about what causes the muscle to build. First of which is a caloric surplus, or we're eating just marginally more than what our bodies need to metabolize. Again, that's going to allow your body to store energy. We want those carbohydrates because insulin is your friend here. And also the fact that muscle, the more muscle you have, the more insulin receptors you have. So it just really works, best to do that. Another thing is the proper resistance training. So resistance bands are great to a certain degree. But you got to have again, like I mentioned earlier, the bone bending strength training regimen too. So we got to be achieving that 85% once a week. And that's when your form is starting to fail. That's when it's really hard to, to stay tight, more air quotes. That's basically when you're allowing more load over intensity to allow that muscle to signal for its growth. Another thing is proper rest. So when you do that 85%, you don't come back tomorrow or the next day to do 85%. At best, you probably would go back the next day and do like 45%. And we're still not talking like 300 reps either. So give your body the proper rest. Sleep does play a big role in that too. And then the last thing is frequency. I just kind of talked about that or hinted on that, just a little bit. So when you talk about frequency, we're going in on Monday. We have 72 hours to retrain, or we're going to start detraining. So when you look at the concept of 72 hours, that means you got to target that same muscle group every 72 hours before atrophy becomes your friend. And nobody wants atrophy as their friend. I hope you found this video to be helpful and insightful. I gave you several things to raise the red flag for if that's what you're doing currently and not seeing the results that you want. Also, I gave you a few ideas to converge on enabling your body to build muscle. If you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button and then enable the bell so you get new content as it comes available. Again, my name is Andy, and if you have a comment or a question, leave it at the bottom of the video, and I hope to hear from you soon. See you later.